It was past midnight on set. The crew had started packing up, but the air still carried the weight of a long, tense day. The lights were dim now, softer than before, casting long shadows on the empty soundstage. A soft wind drifted in from a cracked window, stirring loose paper and cooling the room. Ana de Armas stood alone near the edge of the set. Her arms were crossed tightly around her chest, but not just because of the cold. Her breathing was shallow. She didn't blink much. Her lips moved slightly, like she was whispering something to herself, maybe lines, maybe just thoughts. Anxiety had crept up slowly through the day, and now it wrapped around her like a second skin. Keanu Reeves had noticed her from a distance hours ago. He'd watched her try again and again to perfect a scene that was supposed to be simple, but it wasn't. Not for her. Not tonight. Something in her eyes had been off since morning, like she wasn't really there, like her body was moving. But her spirit was somewhere far away. He'd seen it before, in others, and in himself too. As the crew laughed and moved on, Keanu didn't. He stayed back, pretending to check something on his phone. But really he was waiting. Watching Ana tried to breathe deeply, but failed. Her hands trembled. Her lips were turning pale. She wasn't cold from the air. She was cold from the fear crawling inside her. Fear of not being enough. Fear of failing. Fear that maybe, just maybe, she didn't belong here. Keanu walked toward her quietly. His boots made soft echoes on the stage floor. Ana didn't hear him at first. "Hey," he said gently, not too loud. She turned quickly, startled, wiping at her eyes with the sleeve of her sweater. "Oh, Keanu," she whispered, forcing a smile. "You're still here?" He nodded slowly. "Yeah, I figured I'd hang around." There was silence. Not awkward, but heavy. Then he saw her shoulders trembling, her eyes slightly red, and her hands shaking just a little too much. He didn't ask what was wrong. He didn't try to give a speech. He just took off his jacket, slowly and gently placed it around her shoulders. Ana's breath caught. She looked up at him, surprised. "You looked cold," he said, his voice calm. She swallowed hard. Her throat ached. "Thank you." Keanu nodded, then sat down on a nearby wooden crate, giving her space but not leaving. Ana didn't move for a moment. She just stood there, wrapped in his jacket, breathing in its warmth. It smelled faintly of cedar and something familiar, something safe. Then slowly she sat down too, not next to him but not far either, close enough to feel his quiet presence. She didn't need words, not right now. She just needed not to be alone. Minutes passed. Finally she whispered, "I couldn't get the scene right." Keanu looked at her gently. "It's not about getting it perfect." She looked at him. "Then what is it about?" "It's about showing up, even when you're scared, especially then." Ana looked down at her hands. "I've been scared all day." He didn't respond with advice. Instead, he told her a story. Years ago, he said, "I messed up a whole shoot because I kept forgetting a simple line. Not because I didn't know it, but because my mind was somewhere else. I had just lost someone. I felt like I didn't deserve to be there, like I was wasting everyone's time." Ana turned to him, surprised. She had never heard this before. "What happened?" she asked. "Someone noticed. They didn't say anything big. They just handed me a cup of tea. Sat beside me like I was still human." Ana blinked slowly, fighting the sting in her eyes. "You're allowed to feel this way," he added. "But it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care." There was a pause. The night felt warmer somehow. "Thank you," she whispered again. Keanu smiled gently. "Just breathe. That's enough for now." They sat in silence again. Outside, the wind had stopped. The stage lights dimmed even further. And it felt like time itself was slowing down just to give her this moment. Ana didn't realize it, but she had stopped shaking. The jacket held more. Then warmth held safety. And the silence beside her wasn't empty. It was filled with quiet strength. She finally looked up at him. "Will you be here tomorrow?" He smiled faintly. "Yeah, I'll be here." And somehow that was all she needed to hear. The next morning came too fast. Ana stood in front of her bathroom mirror, staring at her own reflection. Her hair was still damp from the shower, her eyes puffy from sleep or maybe from crying the night before. She wasn't sure which anymore. Keanu's jacket hung neatly on the back of a chair nearby. She hadn't wanted to take it off when she got home. She knew she had to return it today. She pressed her palm flat against the cool counter and whispered, "Just show up." His words echoed in her mind. As she got dressed, she chose something simple. Soft gray jeans, a loose white top. Something that didn't make her feel like she was trying too hard. Something that made her feel calm when she stepped out into the hallway. The sun touched her face gently. The universe was offering a small blessing. At the studio, she kept her head down at first. She didn't want the crew to see her as the girl who fell apart last night. But to her surprise, no one looked at her differently. No one whispered behind her back. In fact, people greeted her kindly like nothing had happened. Or maybe like they knew and respected her more because something had. Then she saw him. Keanu was leaning against a coffee table near the catering area, holding a cup of tea and speaking softly with a lighting technician. When he saw her, his eyes lit up in that quiet way only he could manage. He didn't say much, just smiled. She walked up to him, holding his jacket carefully folded in her arms. "Hey," she said. "Hey," he replied. "Fold it." She smiled, a little bashful. "I didn't want to be rude." He took the jacket from her hands but didn't rush to put it on. "You doing better?" he asked gently. She nodded slowly. "I think so. Still nervous." "Good," he said. She blinked. "Good means you care." They stood in silence again, but it was the comfortable kind. Then something shifted. A loud voice echoed from the far side of the room. "Anna, let's get ready. We're doing the rooftop scene first." It was the director. A fast-paced man known for demanding energy and perfection. Anna stiffened. The rooftop scene? It was the hardest one. It's the emotional breakdown. The one she hadn't rehearsed yet because she had been too nervous. Her fingers tensed at her sides. "You okay?" Keanu asked, watching her carefully. I don't know if I can do this." He set the tea down slowly. "Come with me," he said. Before she could answer, he was already walking toward the back of the studio. She followed. They ended up in a quiet room filled with props and spare lighting rigs. It was dim and smelled like old wood and paint. Keanu sat down on an old trunk and patted the space beside him. "Sit," Anna obeyed. "Close your eyes." Now breathe in, out, slow. They breathed together, in, out. The silence was full of something strong, something grounding. Then he spoke, his voice soft. "You don't have to pretend. Not here. Not with me." Anna opened her eyes slowly. They shimmered with held-back emotion. "You're not just acting, Anna. You're telling the truth. Your truth. People feel it when it's real. They don't need perfect. They need honest." She nodded, but her lips trembled. "What if my honest is too messy?" she asked. "Then let it be messy," he said. "That's where the heart is." She looked away for a moment but then turned back. "Why are you helping me like this?" Keanu smiled, his eyes thoughtful. "Because someone once helped me when I thought I couldn't go on. And because I know what it feels like to stand at the edge and wonder if you're enough." Anna breathed deeply. "And were you?" "Still ask that question every day," he said. They both laughed softly, but it wasn't empty. It was full of truth. A knock at the door broke the moment. "We're ready for you." "Anna," a crew member called. She stood slowly. Her fingers were still shaking, but not like before. "You'll be amazing," Keanu said, standing with her even. "If I'm a mess, especially then." And he handed her back his jacket. She didn't argue. She put it on and walked to set, wrapped, not just in fabric, but in quiet strength. On set, the lights were harsh and the wind machines were ready. They stood on a rooftop built inside the studio. A blue screen behind them created the illusion of a city skyline. Cameras were in place. People shouted instructions, but all Anna could hear was her own heartbeat. Keanu joined her on set, played her older brother in the film. In this scene, he was supposed to say goodbye forever. As they stood there, waiting for the cameras to roll, he leaned close and whispered, "Don't act, just feel." She nodded. Double quotes, action. The director yelled, and Anna let go. Her voice broke. Her face twisted with emotion. Tears ran down without force. She didn't hold anything back. It was real. All of it. Her fear. Her pain. Her hope. And when Keanu stepped forward in the scene and embraced her, she didn't have to pretend to cry. It was all there, raw, honest, beautiful. When the scene ended, no one spoke, not even the director. A quiet awe filled the room. Then someone clapped, another. And soon the whole crew was applauding. Anna stood there, breathless, wrapped in Keanu's jacket, stunned she had done it. Not because she had become someone else, but because she had finally allowed herself to be exactly who she was. Afterwards, back in the dressing room, she sat down slowly, heart still racing. Keanu walked in and leaned against the wall. "Told you," he said simply. She laughed. "I still can't believe it." "Believe it," he said. "You didn't act that scene. You lived it." She looked at him, eyes wide and wet. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded, his expression warm but calm. It's easy to help someone who reminds you of your younger self. Anna tilted her head. "You see yourself in me?" He thought for a moment. "Sometimes, yeah, but you're braver." Her breath caught in her throat. She would never forget those words. Not ever. The following week changed everything. Anna had never felt this strange mix of exhaustion and clarity before. The rooftop scene had gone viral online after someone from the crew posted a behind-the-scenes shot. People weren't just praising the performance, they were saying things like, "I felt that, and this is why real acting matters." But even with the attention growing, Anna stayed quiet, humble. She didn't feel like she had done something grand. To her, it still felt like she had barely made it through. Keanu, however, saw it differently. He watched her from a distance, letting her find her own strength now, but always staying close enough in case the weight got too heavy again. One day, during a lunch break, Anna sat alone at a corner table outside the studio cafeteria. The sun was out, but she still wore his jacket. She liked how it made her feel. Not small, not lost, just hell. Keanu walked by with a tray, caught her eye, and raised a brow. "You mind if I join you?" "Not at all," she said, moving her coffee cup aside. He sat down, quiet for a moment. Then he looked directly at her. "You handled that spotlight better than I did, at your age." Anna looked at him with surprise. "You were already famous by my age." "Fame doesn't mean peace," he said gently. "Sometimes it just means more pressure, more eyes watching you fall." She thought about that. Double quotes. "I don't want to fall," she admitted. "Then lean when you need to," he said. "No one stands alone forever." She smiled, soft and grateful. "You always talk like a poem," he chuckled. "I just lived a lot of quiet days." Then something happened. A producer walked up to their table, face flushed, holding a phone in one hand. "Anna, we need to speak with you privately," she said. Anna blinked. "Yes," the woman said. "It's important." Keanu looked at Anna with a slight nod. "Go ahead, I'll save your coffee." Anna followed the producer into a side office inside the studio building. It was small and cold, the walls covered in production notes and schedules. "What's going on?" Anna asked, her voice small. The producer sighed. "We just received word from the network executives. The trailer cut with your rooftop scene was tested early, and it performed beyond expectations. They're thrilled." Anna blinked. "Oh, wow, that's good, right?" "It's great," the producer said. "But it means they want to push your role even more. The marketing team wants interviews, press tours, early magazine covers. You're becoming the face of the project." Anna's heart skipped me. She said, "I mean, shouldn't that be Keanu?" The producer smiled gently. "Keanu already has the world's respect. This is your moment now." Anna felt dizzy. "You'll have to be ready," the woman said. "Cameras. Questions. Stories. Sometimes. Personal ones. They'll want to know who you are." Anna tried to smile. "I'll try." But as she walked back to her coffee, her mind raced. Keanu was still sitting at the table. When she sat down, he noticed the change in her immediately. "You okay?" he asked. They want me to be the face of the film, she said. Keanu raised his eyebrows, clearly impressed. That's amazing. Is it? She asked, her fingers tightening around her cup. I don't know if I can be that person. Keanu leaned forward. You don't have to be someone else. Just bring more of who you already are. Anna looked down. What if who I am isn't enough? Keanu waited a moment before answering. You think I never asked that? She glanced up. You know what helped? He said. I stopped trying to prove myself to the world. I started trying to be someone my younger self would have needed. Anna was quiet. Then she asked softly, who did your younger self need? Keanu thought. Someone kind. Someone patient. Someone who didn't make him feel broken for being quiet. Anna swallowed hard. Sounds like you became that person. But he didn't answer. Just gave a small smile later that day. The cast gathered for a full table read of the next few episodes. Anna felt the attention more now. People leaned closer when she spoke. They watched her reactions. Whispered when she walked in. She tried. Not to shrink under it, Keanu sat beside her again. Not because he had to, but because it helped her stay grounded. As the script unfolded, a new scene came up, one between their two characters. This time even more raw and emotional than the rooftop. Seen in this one, Anna's character had to scream. To fall apart completely. Her throat closed up just reading it. She looked at Keanu. He didn't say anything, just gave a small nod, like, yes, it's hard, but you can do this. When the table read ended, the director approached. Anna, we're rehearsing that big breakdown scene tomorrow. Let me know if you want to coach. Anna shook her head slowly. I'll try it first. As the team dispersed, she stayed back. Keanu stayed too. She looked at him. Tomorrow's going to be harder than the rooftop scene. He nodded. Maybe. Can I ask you something weird? Sure. Will you be there? Not just for the scene, but ... like before. Keanu met her eyes. I'll be right there. That night, Ina didn't sleep well. The pressure sat heavy in her chest. She woke early, arrived at set before sunrise. The crew was barely awake. Everything looked colder in the dark, sharper, lone. She found a quiet corner and tried to breathe, but panic returned. Tears pricked her eyes. She whispered, I don't think I can do this. Then a hand touched her shoulder. She turned. It was Keanu. He held out a small thermos. Hot tea, he said. She took it, hands shaking. Thank you. He sat beside her on the floor. I couldn't sleep either, he said. So I thought I'd come early. Figured maybe you'd need a jacket. Anna looked down and saw he had brought it again, his jacket. He placed it gently over her shoulders. No words this time, just presence. And sometimes, that's the most powerful kindness of all. The studio was quiet in the early hours. Cables snaked across the floor, coffee cups sat untouched on folding chairs, and the sound of soft humming came from one of the lighting crew tuning a rig in the background. Anna sat with Keanu on the cold floor, his jacket around her shoulders. Her fingers wrapped around a warm cup of tea he had brought her. For a long while, neither of them spoke. Then she whispered, I feel like I'm walking into a storm with no umbrella. Keanu looked at her, thoughtful. Maybe. Or maybe you're becoming the storm. She blinked. That sounds like something from a movie. Maybe, he said with a soft smile. But some things only sound like fiction until you live them. Anna sighed and leaned her head against the wall behind her. Today was the breakdown scene. It's the most intense one yet. Her character had to relive a trauma on camera, and the whole emotional weight of the story now rested on her shoulders. There would be screaming, crying, falling apart completely, and then somehow gathering the strength to speak the final line. And all of it had to be real. The director wanted one take, one raw, honest shot. Anna closed her eyes. I'm not sure if what's inside me is enough. It is, Keanu said gently. You've carried more than this, even when no one noticed. She looked at him. How do you know that? 'Cause I see it. I see the way your eyes don't just read a script, they feel it. I see the way you care, even when you try to hide it. Anna looked down at the tea in her hands. You remind me of someone I used to know, she said quietly. Keanu waited, letting her go on. My older brother, she continued. He used to sit with me on nights when I was scared to sleep. Like this. Quiet. Steady. He didn't try to fix things. He just stayed. Keanu's face softened. Sounds like he loved you a lot. Did, she said, smiling faintly. He died when I was 17. There was a silence after that, respectful and deep. Then Keanu said, sometimes the people we lose don't leave. They just change places. Move from the outside to the inside. Anna pressed her lips together tightly. Then she stood. I should go get ready, she said. Keanu nodded. I'll be nearby. She looked back once as she left the hallway, and for some reason, seeing him there calm, present, waiting gave her a kind of courage she hadn't known she needed. Inside makeup, the team worked quietly. They darkened her eyes slightly, gave her a tired, raw look. No lipstick, no glam. Just truth. When she stepped onto set, it was colder than usual. It's not because of the air, but because of what the scene required. The lights were focused tightly on one small space in the center of the soundstage, a cracked living room with broken furniture, dim lighting, and one window casting pale light. Anna's character was supposed to collapse onto the floor, lost. In grief, it was a heavy scene, emotionally and physically. She took her place. The director raised a hand. Quiet on set, he said. Anna stood in the middle of the room. Her breathing slowed, then action. It started. Her character broke. The first few words came out with effort. Her voice cracked, then louder. She began to sob, to scream, to fall apart right there on the wooden floor. She shook. She crawled toward the broken chair in the corner. She pounded her fists into the ground. Her whole body trembled, and everyone stood still, frozen. Keanu, watching from the edge of the set, felt something in his chest. It wasn't acting. It wasn't performance. It was truth, the pain. In Anna's face, the tremble in her voice. The words she shouted, they came from somewhere real. Then she fell silent in the scene. The moment when her character was supposed to say the final line, for a second, no words came. The room held its breath, then barely a whisper, she said it. You left me, but I never left you.
Oh.
Cut, the director yelled. His voice choked. That was it. No one clapped. No one dared. Because it didn't feel like acting. It felt like watching someone bleed without bleeding. Anna sat on the floor, her eyes wet, chest heaving. Someone brought her water. Someone else brought a blanket. But before they could reach her, Keanu was already walking across the set. He didn't say anything. He just knelt down beside her. Anna looked up. You were there, she whispered. I always will be, he said. Later, that evening, the crew threw a small dinner gathering at a nearby restaurant. Nothing fancy, just a way to say thank you to everyone for the long week of filming. Anna wasn't sure if she wanted to go. Her heart still felt raw, exposed. But Keanu called her. Come, he said. Just for a little while. You don't have to talk much. Just be there. She agreed. The restaurant was softly lit, with candles on every table and gentle music playing in the background. People laughed. Stories were shared. But when Anna walked in, everyone paused. Then one by one, people stood. They didn't say anything loud, but they nodded to her. Some smiled. Some just looked at her with something like respect. She sat down beside Keanu quietly. A server came over. Would you like some tea? He asked. Anna nodded. She likes it with honey, Keanu added gently. She smiled. You remembered? Remember things that matter, he said, halfway through the evening. The director stood up and tapped his glass. I want to say something, he said. The room quieted. I've been on hundreds of sets, seen hundreds of actors, but what Anna gave us today, ... Yeah, that wasn't acting. That was a gift. Anna lowered her gaze. The director continued, and sometimes we don't realize how lucky we are to witness something honest. So thank you, people. Clapped. Not loudly, but meaningfully. After dinner, as they stepped outside, the night air was crisp. Stars scattered across the sky. Anna hugged herself. Keanu noticed without a word. He removed his jacket and placed it around her shoulders once more. She didn't stop him this time. She leaned into it. Then she said softly, "It's not the jacket." "You know," he smiled. "I know. It's you," she whispered. "You helped me become brave." Keanu looked at her for a long moment. "You were always brave," he said. "I just reminded you." It had been a month since the breakdown scene. Anna's life was changing in ways she hadn't expected. Magazine interviews, red carpet invitations, morning show appearances. People wanted to know her name now. They wanted to know her story. And everywhere she went, someone brought up the rooftop scene, or the breakdown. But she never told the full truth. Not on camera. She never mentioned the jacket, or the quiet mornings, or the man who sat beside her in silence when the world felt too loud. She kept those parts safe, just for her. The night of the cast celebration arrived. It was a big studio event. Huge. Banners, flashing lights, cameras lined up in long rows outside the theater entrance. Reporters shouted names. Fans cheered from behind barriers. Anna stepped out of the black car wearing a long dark dress. Her hair fell in soft waves, and her smile flickered under the constant flashes of cameras. But inside, she was nervous again. Not the same kind of fear as before. This was different. This was the fear of attention, the fear of being seen too much. The fear of being misunderstood. Keanu had arrived earlier. But he waited near the entrance, instead of going inside. When she saw him, she breathed a little easier. He was in a black suit, simple and clean. No tie, calm eyes. Same steady presence. "You look nice," she said. "You look powerful," he replied. She smiled. "Only because of you." "No," he said softly. "Because of you." They walked inside together, not arm in arm, just close. Close enough to feel connected, but not to create noise for the press. Inside the theater, people moved like rivers of color and sound gowns, suits, music, clinking glasses, actors, producers, executives. The energy buzzed tied on, stayed near. Keanu most of the night. Not because she was afraid, but because she trusted him. They talked with other guests. They took photos. They stood in circles and listened to stories. But something strange happened around an hour into the event. A young actress, barely 20, stood at the far corner of the ballroom. She looked out of place, overwhelmed, gripping her clutch tightly. Her eyes scanned the room, nervous and wide. Anna noticed her. "Be right back," she said to Keanu. She walked over gently, slowly. "Hi," Anna said kindly. The girl blinked. "Hi, I'm sorry. I feel like I shouldn't even be here." Anna smiled gently. "I know that feeling." The girl's eyes widened. "You do?" Anna nodded. "I used to stand in corners too." "You?" The girl whispered. "What?" You're the star." Anna looked down, then back up. "No, I'm just someone who is lucky enough to be seen. And someone who is brave enough to show up." The girl swallowed hard. I don't know how to talk to anyone here." "Just did," Anna said softly. The girl smiled a little. "Come," Anna said. "Stand with us." She led the girl back to where Keanu stood. When he saw the girl's nervous face, he gave a warm nod. "I'm Keanu," he said simply. The girl nearly dropped her clutch. Anna giggled softly. "Don't worry, he's kind." They stood together. And slowly, the girl relaxed. She began talking, quietly at first, then more confidently. After a while, Keanu leaned in and whispered to Anna, "You gave her your jacket." Anna turned and looked at him. He continued, "That's what kindness does. It spreads." Anna's eyes welled up, not from sadness, but from something deeper, gratitude. After the event ended, and most people had left, Anna and Keanu stood outside near the parking area. The night was cool again, quiet, peaceful. "I never told you," Anna said, "but I used to think I didn't belong in this world." Keanu didn't interrupt. He just listened. "When I was younger, I was told I wasn't strong enough, or serious enough, or talented enough. So I tried to hide all the things that made me soft." She paused. But you made me see that soft isn't weak. He looked at her, eyes gentle. It never was. I want to be that for someone else. She whispered. The way you were for me? Keanu nodded. You already are. They stood in silence. Then Anna reached into her bag and pulled something out, a folded jacket. His jacket, she held it up, I think. Maybe it's time I return this. Keanu smiled. I wondered when you'd bring that. It helped me, she said. More than I can explain. He reached out and took it, holding it with quiet respect. Thank you for taking care of it, he said. Thank you for giving it, she replied. As she turned to head to her car, Keanu called out, Wait. She stopped. He walked over, unfolded the jacket, and placed it back over her shoulders. Keep it, he said. But you don't need it anymore, he said, but maybe someone else will. And now, you'll be the one who carries it. Anna's heart swelled. The jacket felt different now, not like a shield, but like a promise. The next morning, Anna walked past a group of interns huddled outside the studio gates, waiting for their orientation. One of them, a girl with tired eyes and a thin coat, looked especially nervous. Anna paused, walked over, and without a word, slipped the jacket from her shoulders and gently placed it around the girl. The girl looked up, stunned. Why? Anna smiled softly. Because someone once gave it to me, she said. And I think you need it more. So the girl didn't know what to say. Anna just smiled again and walked inside. Keanu, already inside the studio, looked up as she entered. You gave it away, he said, half smiling. You were right, she replied, not cold anymore. It had been nearly a year since that night. The premiere of their film was just days away. Posters lined buildings. Trailers played before every major movie. Interviews flooded the internet. People were calling it the most human film of the decade. But Anna didn't feel like a star. She felt like herself, steady and quietly strong. On the outside, everything had changed. But inside, she still remembered how it all began. That night on set, her hands trembling. The fear, the silence, and the jacket that made her feel seen, she had not forgotten. One afternoon, she walked into the studio's press room for a pre-premiere interview. Cameras stood ready. Lights glowed warmly. A team of assistants moved around in quiet coordination. Anna sat in the chair across from the interviewer. She wore a pale blue shirt, no makeup heavy enough to hide the shine in her eyes. She was calm. Still, the interviewer leaned forward with a smile. Yeah. Anna, the world has fallen in love with your performance. They say it's raw, emotional, unforgettable. How did you prepare for such deeply human scenes? Anna paused. She could have said something scripted, something polished. But instead, she took a breath and answered, I didn't perform. I lived it, and someone helped me believe that was enough. The interviewer raised her eyebrows. Someone? Yes, Anna said quietly. A friend. The interviewer smiled again. Was it Keanu? Anna laughed softly. Yes. He seems like a very grounding presence, the interviewer said. He is, Anna replied. He changed the way I see myself. Not by fixing me. It's not by telling me what to do, but by staying. Can you tell us how? The interviewer asked. Anna hesitated for just a moment, then said, One night, when I felt like I didn't belong in this world, I was standing alone on set, shivering, overwhelmed. I thought I was going to break, and he just took off his jacket and gave it to me, without a word. The interviewer's eyes softened. Sometimes, Anna continued, smallest act of kindness can keep someone from falling. After the interview, Anna stepped outside the building. The sky was clear, the light golden.
Ow.
A soft wind played. With her hair, Keanu was waiting near the exit, leaning against the side of a black SUV, sipping tea from a paper cup. She walked up to him, hands in her pockets. You saw it? She asked. Yeah, he said. You did good. She looked at him. Do you ever miss the quiet? Sometimes, he said. But the world needs voices like yours now. Voices that remind us to stay gentle. They walked down the sidewalk. Slowly, side by side. You know, Anna said, I kept the jacket for months. Then I gave it to someone who needed it more. Keanu smiled. I know. She wrote me a letter. She did. Yeah, he said. She said it made her feel like she could breathe again. Anna's heart warmed. Double quotes. I think it's better that way, she said. Passing it on. That's how kindness works, Keanu said. You don't hold it. You carry it long enough to give it to someone else. The night of the premiere arrived. The theater was glowing. Cameras flashed. Fans screamed. Anna stepped out of the car in a simple, elegant dress. She looked strong, present. Hole got Keanu joined her moments later. The crowd erupted in cheers. They walked the carpet together, not holding hands, not performing. Just walking like two people who had walked through storms and shared quiet nights under studio lights. An interviewer rushed over. Anna, and a Keanu can we get a few words? They nodded. Everyone's talking about your chemistry, your connection on screen. How did you build that? Anna looked at Keanu. He looked back at her, and without hesitation she answered, We didn't build it. We respected it. We gave each other space to fall and rise. And jackets, Keanu added with a small grin. The interviewer laughed, confused. Jackets. Anna smiled. It's a long story. They moved past the reporters and into the theater. The lights dimmed. The screen lit up. People held their breath as the film began. And when the rooftop scene came on, a hush fell over the room. Anna watched herself on screen, crying, trembling, breaking, and then something magical happened. She didn't feel shame anymore. She didn't feel afraid. She felt proud, because that girl on screen, wrapped in a borrowed jacket, had found her strength not by pretending to be strong, but by being honest. When the final scene faded to black, the room exploded in applause. Not polite. Not expected. Real, full, grateful Anna stood with the crowd. Tears in her eyes, and beside her, Keanu stood still. .com present after the film. There was a quiet reception upstairs, soft music, soft lights. Anna found a moment alone near a window. The city lights below looked like stars had fallen to earth. Keanu walked up beside her, holding 2 mugs of tea. Honey, he said, offering her one. She smiled. You remember everything. He shrugged. Just the parts that matter. He stood there in silence. Then Keanu said, I'm glad you didn't give up that night. Me too, she whispered. You think you'll keep acting? She said. But only if I can keep being real. He nodded. That's the only way to last. She turned toward him, full of quiet gratitude. Thank you, she said, for seeing me before the world did. Thank you, he replied, for becoming the person the world needed. They sipped their tea in silence, and in that quiet moment, surrounded by everything that had changed, Na realized something beautiful. She hadn't just made it through. She had become the kind of person who could reach back and pull someone else forward. And that was the real story.